So I very recently not just monetized one, but not just two, but not just three, but not just four, but 5 faceless YouTube channels within a very, very short period of time. And in this video, I'll show you guys exactly how I did it. For this channel here, just as an example, it took us literally 15 days to get this channel monetized. And this is one of the more recent ones. In this video, I'll show you guys exactly what I did and how you can monetize this many channels as well if you want to. Now, for the people who don't know who I am, I'm Stefan, currently 23 years old, and I currently make between $30,000 and $40,000 a month and constantly building new faceless YouTube channels, as we can see right here. Then, I made $42,000 with just 2 faceless YouTube channels, as we can just see here, $30,000, and then here $12,000, and then here I've scaled the channel from 0 to $48,000 in just 30 days, as we can see right here. Then I've also helped hundreds of other people do the exact same thing. For example, here Martins, who have helped to make $31,000 in one single month. Here, a different student completely blowing up his channel. Here, a different student, $24,000 in one single month. Here, a different student blowing up. Here, a different student monetizing 20 days. So it's not just me who's monetizing channels that fast. On average, our students are monetizing their channels in literally 3 to 6 weeks, which is very fast. Now, if you're interested in working closer with me, check out the first link in the video description, book a call with me, and we will have a look how we can scale up your channel as well. And, how I can help you actually, reach your goals and stop failing on YouTube, all right? So check the first link in the video description, book your call. And with that being said, I planned out this full video, quite valuable, so make sure to watch this whole video. So first thing we always need to do, and I like to do this here first before we even do niche research, before we do any of these kind of things, I like to get our channel ready. You have to understand that shadow bans are for sure 100% real on YouTube, right? Now, we can avoid shadow bans by kind of having a good trust score. Now, what is a trust score? Trust score is just basically how much does the platform actually trust your YouTube channel, all right? Now, there are different kind of accounts, and I'll show you in a second how you can actually go ahead and increase your trust score for YouTube to trust your account more, and with that, actually push your channel more. Now, there are different kind of YouTube accounts. They are, just as an example, there's a brand new account, there's an aged account, there's a pre-monetized account, and then there is, for example, also a personal account. A personal account is a YouTube channel like the one you most probably currently use to watch this exact video. Now, personal accounts are the best accounts you can go with. Brand new accounts are also pretty good, and aged accounts are also very good. I would not recommend you to use a pre-monetized account just because they cost a bunch of money, and if you fail, you lose a bunch of money with the channel, all right? So just use one of these accounts and you will be good to go. Now, how do you actually go ahead and warm up your account? Because this is going to be very important, because we obviously want to try to increase our trust score. Now, this is not always 100%, all right? So it does not always work, but it does work, all right? Now, how do we actually go ahead and warm up our account? We use the account as a normal user, all right? We watch 1 to 2 hours of content per day. We subscribe, like, and comment to different kind of YouTube videos. Now, very important is that we do not spam this. So we do not want to act bot-like when we are actually, subscribing to other YouTube channels, liking other YouTube videos. And we do this for 1 week plus to lower the risk of a low trust score. All right. Now, as I've said, this is not going to be 100% safe. Now, it's not going to work every single time, but this for sure does work here and there, all right? So this does increase the chance of actually, getting a good account. Next thing we want to do is we want to actually go ahead and, do niche research. But for niche research, there's specific criteria we're always looking for. For example, there are under 5 smaller channels creating content in this niche that are constantly getting more views than they have subscribers. This means there's high demand and low supply, which is one of the most important things or metric or kind of terms when it comes to YouTube automation. Most people fail with YouTube because they do not understand demand and supply. Okay, then there are no channels with over 100,000 subscribers. We don't want any huge competitors, because this is just going to make our life extremely difficult when we actually want to go ahead and start our channel, because YouTube trusts these accounts so much. So you have to ask yourself, why would YouTube kind of push out our channel if they already have this channel with 100,000 subscribers, which they already trust, right? Then There are no smaller channels failing, super important, because otherwise why should we win? The niche is not older than 6 months. This is just as important because we don't want to go into super old niches. Otherwise there will be channels failing and there will be channels with over 100,000 subscribers. Then I can create better content than my competitors. Also super important. This can also just be longer content. We'll go into that a bit deeper in a second. And then am I actually interested in this niche? Not a must, as long as you build a team that actually has interest in that niche. Then is the niche monetizable? Super important, otherwise you're not going to make any money. Huge bonus if you can actually go ahead and post long videos in that niche. All right, now very important, give yourself enough time to do niche research and do not rush the process, because if you are going to rush the process, you are going to do it twice. All right, promise me. Now there are some tools that I would highly recommend for doing niche research. That is, for example, NextLev, which is 13 euros a month. I'll show you in a second how NextLev actually works. Let me just open it here on the side. And then, vidIQ, the free plan is more than enough. Okay, now how do we actually do niche research? We actually do niche research by using a dummy account. A dummy account is basically a YouTube account that we only use for niche research. The YouTube homepage has changed for our advantage during the last few years, and YouTube got extremely good at predicting what we actually want to watch on YouTube. And we can actually use this to our advantage to train the YouTube algorithm to only show us faceless niches on our YouTube home tab. Now, instead of me explaining this, let me actually show you how this works, because once your dummy account is set up, you can literally find endless niches with it. All right, so this right here is my own dummy account. As we can see right here, it's mainly faceless niches on here. Sometimes I click on different YouTube channels per accident. You don't want to do that, but faceless. Then we have here faceless. Everything is just faceless, and that is the power of a dummy account. Like, if your dummy account is set up the correct way, you can literally find thousands and thousands of niches on one single account. All right, now how do you set accounts up like this? So you basically go ahead and you create a brand new account, exactly like here, just as an example. And just imagine how I'm signed in, and then you can literally go to your YouTube search bar and look, for example, top 10 cats, just as an example. Like, no joke, anything you are interested in, and then you just click on a faceless video. So here we can, just as an example, see this is a faceless video. As far as I can see right here, it is a faceless video. So now we go ahead, we click on this video, and we let it play. Now, while this video is playing, we can already click on the next few videos here on the side, and always just look for faceless videos on the side. So here you can already see a smaller channel doing very well. Here's another faceless video, here's another faceless video, and this is what we can do like over and over again until after a while, you will see, if you go to your YouTube homepage now, you will see that it's mainly going to be faceless content on the YouTube homepage. So faceless, then we have here not faceless, but here, just as an example, faceless content. And I haven't even done this for very long now. I've literally done it for like, no joke, like 2 minutes or something. So this works very well. So here, just as an example, we have a channel that's already a bit bigger, but it's, as far as I know, it's a faceless channel. Now, where are you actually going to use not 11 labs, but here NextLev? You can actually use NextLev, to check the backends of these channels. So you can actually see like, hey, what is the RPM of a channel, for you to actually try to calculate if it would even make sense for you to go into a specific channel. So you can see $6 RPM channel gets 2 million views a month, and this channel is making $2,000 a month. Probably not $4,000. Like, this might be a little bit wrong. Rather look at the RPM and then the views this channel is getting. Maybe still a new channel. I'm actually not completely sure. Not a new channel, so not completely sure what's going on there. Or maybe it's doing a bunch of shorts, and that's why it is only, making that much money. But its long form RPM is $6. So then you can now decide like, hey, is that enough money for you or not? And if yes, then you go for the niche, right? All right, so now we know how to do niche research. Now, something that is extremely important, and this is where a lot of people mess up, and that is that most people don't understand that speed is key on YouTube. You must have a team that can very quickly implement whatever you want to do. Okay, you have to understand that YouTube is going to be player versus player, and the player who's going to play the game the fastest is always going to win over the other player. All right, and this is something very important to understand. Now, when we kind of go towards content, we have three different options. We can either do it ourselves, we can do the hybrid method, or we can fully outsource it. If we do it ourselves, or if you do it yourself, there are advantages and disadvantages. So the advantages are there are basically no costs, you have 100% profit margin, you learn new skills, and you have full control over the channel. The disadvantages are it is not very scalable, it is extremely time consuming, the learning takes a bunch of time, and without you, there's no money because then nobody creates the videos. Then we have the hybrid method where you do some and the freelancers do some. So the advantages are it's low cost, you do what you enjoy, you have more control over the channel, and the disadvantages are it's only partially scalable, very time consuming, and some capital is required, and without you, there's no income. Okay, now many of our students actually start out with this and then move over to fully outsourcing. The cool thing is we actually give you guys, if you're working one-on-one with me, I'm giving you guys all of the freelancers and everything you need, all right? So if you fully outsource, this is not very time consuming, extremely scalable, still over 80% profit margin if done correctly, not very time consuming, like because you have time freedom, you can do whatever you want as long as the videos still get created. You work with experienced freelancers, and without you, there's still an income. Now, the disadvantages are just that this does require some income. That's why, or some initial capital. That's why most of our students start with the hybrid method and then move over to fully outsourcing. But yeah, like in the end of the day, it doesn't matter how the content gets created, as long as it actually gets created and actually gets posted to YouTube, all right? Then next up, we actually move to the niche testing framework. So this is the exact process I follow with every single niche I go into to avoid spending money on videos that will never ever work. So what we do first is we do niche research, right? Then we choose an account. You guys already know what kind of account you would choose. If you don't, let me know in the video description and I'll in the video comments, and I'll help you guys out. Then we need actually 10 to 15 video topics, and we need good video topics. We do not need any random video topics. Now, how do we actually choose good video topics? So how does a good video topic look like? You guys have to understand that supply and demand is not just important in your niche, but also in the video topics you choose, all right? Now, how do you find demand? You look for recent outlier videos on competitor channels, look for recent trending formats, and most importantly, do not copy the most popular videos from your competitor channels. This is what everyone does, and I can promise you your channel is going to fail. All right. If you go ahead and on this channel here, just as an example here, you're going to go ahead and you just copy this video one-on-one, like your video is going to fail. Let's have a look at how many people actually created a video on this exact same topic. Probably a bunch of people. So here we have it, here we have it, here we have it, here we have it. Like all of these videos, same topic, right? Obviously, like here, these guys don't get any views anymore. That's completely normal, right? Because of supply and demand, right? Now, how do you actually go ahead and find supply? Use your YouTube search bar and look for how many people have actually created a video on the exact same video topic, right? Now, if it's been done more than 3 times and you do not have a completely different angle, to that specific video, I would go ahead and I would just look for a different topic. Now, YouTube will always show these videos to the hardcore fans of that niche first. And if they have already seen the video multiple times, they don't have zero reasons to click on your video. All right, except if it follows a different angle. Now, how does a perfect video topic actually look like? A perfect video topic resonates with your audience. So do they even want to watch this specific video? Some of the topics sound super interesting, but are actually super boring. Then make sure, that your topic is actually interesting. Your topic has to be posted on time, especially if it is a trend. Repeat what has done well in the past, and I'll tell you guys more on this later. Leverage negativity, because, humans will always respond better to negative things. They will act just way quicker. If something is negative, we humans have to act, right? And that's going to happen if something is negative. Now, something you can also use is the topic transfer method. This is one of the most powerful ways to choose video topics. So this is by far the most powerful way to choose video topics. What you essentially do is you find winning video topics in other niches and move them over to your niche. This can work insanely well if this is done correctly. If we look at here, just as an example, this video here was posted 11 months ago, 2.7 million views here, 350,000 views in 9 months. And it's basically the same topic, same thing for this exact topic right here, same exact concept, all right? Now, This is what we've done with Scott, who went from literally getting 50 to 100 views a video and almost giving up on his channel to $5,000 a month, as we can see right here. He even had the highest days of $450. All right, in the second month of starting his channel. Now, the next thing we want to do is we actually want to double down on what is already working. So let's say, for example, we posted 5 videos and we have one specific video that does very well. You know, once we find something that works and gets views, why do we want to reinvent the wheel? Double down on that topic until it does not work anymore. If you have something that works, do 80% of what works and 20% test new stuff. Now, this has worked extremely well for Andre, who went from, you know, just being monetized to $31,000 a month in just 4 months. All right, as we can just see, in February he hit $30,000 in gross revenue, which is extremely strong. Okay, so now you guys know how to pick good video topics. Now, how do you actually go ahead and create them? So you can use ChatGPT or any kind of AI to write the script. For the voiceover, you can use 11 Labs, or even here, let me just show you Gen AI Pro, which is basically a very cheap 11 Labs, which is super awesome. So 1 million credits for only $22, super cheap. Would recommend it, like we use it too. Then I'll basically link it in the video description, just wanted to know that. Then for the editor, we use a freelancer. Like, have a look that you can get kind of cheaper videos, so $15 to like $25 or something per video, because we don't want to overspend in the beginning when we are just testing our channels. Then for the thumbnail, we use a freelancer, or we just go ahead and we do the thumbnail ourselves. Now, make sure if you do the thumbnail yourself, make sure to actually learn a little bit how to do it. Then for the video length, we want our video to be 1.5 times longer than our competitor video. Simple reason for that is very simple, because we obviously just want to make sure that, you know, our video actually has the potential to keep a viewer longer on YouTube than the competitor video, because YouTube is always going to push the video that keeps someone on YouTube for the longest period of time. Then for the thumbnail and also the title, we always want to work with, you know, proven to work concepts. We do not want to reinvent the wheel, because why would we want to do that? We just want to do what is working. All right. Then after we have all of that ready, we want to go into the posting phase. So we post, skip, post, skip, post, post, skip, post. Now we want to be inconsistent, which sounds very weird, but we also want to be consistent. We want to show YouTube that, you know, there's actually a human behind the account and not just like any kind of AI bot. All right. Now, one of two things is going to happen. Either the channel is going to blow up like there, then we are actually going to continue to post videos on the channel. Now, if this does not happen and it's actually flatlining right here, we do not go ahead and we post videos. Like, we do not post more videos on the channel. Then we actually go ahead and we try to understand why did the channel fail. So there are a few reasons why a channel might fail. So firstly, it might be the niche, the video topics, the packaging, the video length, or it's maybe just a bad channel, right? So always go back and try to understand why a video is failing. Okay. Now, once you understand why a channel is failing, now once you understand that, you actually go back to niche research and you repeat this exact same process. Now, once you've done this for a while, you know, you will 100% get something that works. Now, if you want to skip the whole trial and error, you know, and, you know, do the same thing as, for example, Andre did, or just as an example here, the student that did $25,000, or even here, you know, the student who went from $200 to $400 a day, or even here to first $1,000 in the first month, or here $4,000, then check out the first link in the video description. Book a completely free call with me, and we'll just have a look if it makes sense to work together and if I can scale you up. If I can, then we'll work together. If not, then not. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.